I hope you're having a good night so far. I was talking to Ed over at 125 Rods earlier tonight. Let's see if I can get this moved over. And I was talking to him about Clearcoat. Because I can spray any kind of color I want under here. It could be water-based, it could be chroma-based, it could be latex, it could be whatever I want to spray through the airbrush. My final coat is the Clearcoat, and I get it by the gallon. It's pretty cheap. It's the cheapest I've found that works good in the automotive field. But I was telling him, I says, you don't have to get the big, you don't have to get the big gallon of it. You can move it out of the way. So we got a little bit of room on the bench here. Okay, here you go. That's what I use. I just use a little bit with the airbrush. Let me get that over here too. Put all this stuff together. Okay. That's what I've shot it through, and I just put a quick disconnector on it that I got the other day for the hose, so that ought to be nice. And here's this one. I'm going to get a few of these things out, and then I'll move the box. I'll put the rest of the stuff away. This is what I clean the tips out with, is a torch cleaner. I've used those for almost 40 years now. I had two of them. There's the other one. It's a skeleton of itself. And then here's an opener. And here's a few others I had over the years. And then I'll get this out of the way. Okay, this is better. But what I do is I label these. This one here is labeled as clear, and that so I don't get gooey around the edge more than that already is. As I dip it in, it's 4 of these, 4 scoops to 1 scoop of that. Okay, that's for the hardener. This is for the clear. Okay. And since it's 4 to 1, I'll put in about 16 or 18 right in here of these scoops. And I make sure I clean this out, and I'll use my deal and clean it all out of there. But what I do is I just scoop them in and put them in. Put that with that. And this one, I pour it. I shake them up kind of good first. I can hear the cap. Like you pull the pull top off underneath this. I hear that inside there. But it stirs it and mixes it good. Okay. Now, what I do is I use those scoops. That's why I wanted to show that, and then this, the hardener, that's what I do after that's in there. Then I put my hardener in here, and I'll count like I did 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'll pour this in here, and even though I'm making 1 cap, I'll count to 4 because I'm terrible with numbers. Dump it in, and then I'll pour another one, and that'll be 5, 6, 7, 8. Put it in there until I get up to 16 or 18, depending on which one I did. And then it'll give me almost a full bottle of this. These, it's a Badger. These were $6 each last time I got them. And I got several at a time because Clearcoat can, make it to where they don't work in a short amount of time. But that's what I've used to clear those models. I've even used that to just clear a gas tank or anything because I'm working in a tiny, tiny little area. Here's the hardener. And that one there I use with my color if I go to measure it out. And this one, I wanted to show that I bought a Teflon head gasket in there. I just bought that not too long, about a month or 2 months ago. And you got to have that or else it'll reverse the polarity of the air and it'll blow it back up through your cup and make bubbles in your cup. And when you go to spray, it'll spray and stop like, it'll just make a huge mess if you don't have the head gasket in the head. I'll put it back in here. We are having a benefit to help my friend, fellow musician Chris Hunter and his family recover expenses after Chris's stroke. Okay, put that in there. Put that up there. I'm going to get out a couple of these old. These were 120 years old, 130 years old. Instructions in them. This is the kind of ones that they would have used on Bambi when they made Bambi in 1939. It was, I think, the same time as they made Wizard of Oz, 1939. But these were made in the 1800s, and they're extremely tiny. The little pattern that they shoot is so small. It's almost like it's even smaller than a pen, like a ballpoint pen. It can be, you can go bigger and wider, but I've had those in fact, I've given 5 or 6 of these away. But yeah, that's when they were 1880 is when it was started in Chicago. And Chicago's only about 50 miles from me or so. So the heart of Chicago is not very far. That's that one. Just want to give you a rundown of what kind of stuff does what. But here's another Thayer and Chandler. And they're extremely, extremely old. I got them off of eBay a long time ago. Okay. I showed you these. These are single action. And they're pretty old. Central. And then that one there just says airbrush on it to let you know that it is an airbrush. But I like these a little bit better for shooting clear. They don't shoot clear right now, and I don't know why that is, but I can take them apart and put them in my lacquer thinner. I'll even show you how I go about that. These other kind, they work better. They don't have all the overspray. You're not putting a big cloud in the air with these. So these work really good, but they're not working. This one goes through it pretty fast. I mean, you'll see level. I mean, it'll go down immediately. It's pretty big. So I got that. And what I do here is I'll pour it into another one of these glass cups. I'll pour it into here, and that's brand new lacquer thinner. And then as I clean the airbrush, and you got clumps and things in it, then I'll open this up. I'll open that up, and then I'll dump it in there. So it's used thinner. through. That way I don't go through an amazing amount of that. In fact, I've had that used one I got in 2013. So it was 10 years ago. Yeah, I don't go through hardly any materials. But I was talking to Ed earlier on the phone, and I was telling him about the Nason, because he says he'd like to get some of the clear because it turned out so shiny. Now to me, this is hazy. It still needs to be rubbed out again with my McGuire's hand glaze, and he said he got some of that now because I was telling him about it. And it seems like it's pretty good, but I might have wanted to get something maybe up here, more cutting, or maybe it cut just right. I don't know. But the 3M Imperial hand glaze, which was like way more expensive. Yeah, I wasn't even going to think about getting that. I showed it to Tammy, and it's like, yeah, that's not even possible. Okay, and we got the hose. I have that about done. I might want to wrap it with some Teflon tape. Let's see, put that down here. Get it out of the way. Get it out of the way. I want to show you these here. The one I just got from John. I did some research on it. They don't come with a head gasket inside. Let me show you. Yeah, there's no head gasket inside, yet there's a space in there. So it reverses the polarity up inside. And I've looked online, I've looked everywhere for, some kind of a rubber O-ring or something like the other brands. The other brands have a rubber O-ring. This one doesn't have it. Because what they tell you on YouTube is to put some beeswax in there. And I did notice that there's a buildup of something inside here. So I got to clean it yet. But is what I did is I started with styrene. And I was going to make myself my own gasket. So I started working on the inside. And then I told Tammy, I said, oh, this is for a wrecker. This is a wrecker boom. So I glued it together. So that isn't going to hold up very long. So then I took some aluminum. Let's see, here we go. Aluminum, and I milled it. Now it's perfect, the inside diameter. Now I got to make the outside diameter. But it's what I think is that there's so many people with that particular airbrush that they need to have one of these. And the aluminum might be the way to go, but I don't think it's going to squish enough. Maybe it will. I doubt it. It might work great. So I put a glue stick in the freezer to make it nice and stiff. Because when I was drilling the inside of that, it was melting the glue stick itself. The heat was generating up. So I put it in the freezer, and now I'm going to mill the outside of it to the right outside diameter of, let me see, where's my pointer now? I need one. To this inside diameter right here. So I'm going to machine it to that. And I think a glue stick would hold up to my chroma base and lacquer and all that. It should hold up good. If it doesn't, then I'm going to switch over to my aluminum. But I've been drilling and working on them then today. But I wanted to show what I've been working on. Here's the boom. That's what I'm looking for. The boom to get it out of the way. Okay. I'm going to put this back together. And then I'll work on that tomorrow. Work on both of these. I'll put that back in the freezer for the morning. Then the Pache. I was airbrushing a demolition derby car back 25 years ago. It was the fall of 1998. The fall of 1998, I was airbrushing it, and I had the red braided hose, and a kitten came from across the street and clawed into it and bit it, and you hear pfft. off, and then it was just full of holes everywhere. And I was going to patch it, and somewhere that ended up being gone. But these threads are so oddball. It didn't come with any of my adapters or anything for a quick connect. So I'm going to have to put this back and just kind of forget about it again for a while. But it was a pretty good one. It had a good size needle in it, but I haven't had, I guess that one was pretty big. But it was kind of fat and kind of, I thought, and it's real heavy, and it felt really clunky. I wasn't even sure what this was for, really. It doesn't screw or anything. So I wanted to show you that, what I got going on there. And I wanted to talk to Ed and anyone else who wanted to find out how to do the, the paint work to where you have it just as glossy as can be. This is it's like a mirror. But that's because you can spray water base. You can like I did with the background there, spray the water based stuff, and you could do anything, even the roof, and the rest of it was crumbly and just real dry. Tammy looked at it and she told me later that she didn't know if she should say anything. It was that bad. And I told her, oh, no, that's fine. I don't worry about any of that, because once I clear over it, then it's going to be as smooth as glass. But that's it there, just a Nason. And that's the secret recipe to just about everything is, some nice Nason over the top of it. So let's see. I wanted to touch on a few other things. I got everything done. It's up there. Boy, I don't know. That was about it. I wanted to show those. Okay. But yeah, that turned out like a sheet of glass. I super glued the engine in. And in doing that, I've had 2 super glue deals that right on top of the clear. So I'll probably have to wet sand this again and buff it back. But it doesn't hurt the clear. The clear is deep on there, and it's strong as can be. You can even put glue, model glue on it anywhere. Just press it with your thumbnail, and you'll see it just pops itself right off. Glue does not affect it whatsoever. Super glue does, just in the fact that it sticks to it. And yeah, I can probably just even use that hand glaze and glaze it back like it was. But I want to show you just a few things about the clear, because it seems like people probably are confused about Clearcoat. The stuff you get in the spray cans, like, let's see, I got some over here, but it's, your Rust-Oleum and your stuff from the hardware store. It isn't going to get anything shiny. In fact, I use their gloss coat, like Rust-Oleum gloss coat. I use that as a matte or even a semi-gloss, and that's pushing it. And I would never think about buffing that. And the reason why is because the clear is always going to stay soft. This stuff here, it's like, I don't know, you have to sand it within 15 hours, or else it's like granite. Then you might as well just forget about it. You're never going to color sand it and buff it back. I guess you could, but it's meant for production. That way you spray it one day, you come back the next day in the body shop, and then it's ready to color sand and buff the whole car. And if you wait, that's a huge mistake. Don't wait on the stuff. Some people think, oh yeah, put it out in the sun. Well, color sand it and buff it, then stick it in the sun. Bake it to where it's bulletproof then. But let's see. I want to touch upon that, because that's magical. I wouldn't want to even try a model without that, unless I was going for that. When I go for that, I don't. But there we are. Giving you the chance to win $100 every day. Tune into the Morning Mess weekdays with the amazingly stupendous, really thin axle. There we go. I think right about there, maybe. Okay. Wanted to hit upon that. Yeah, and what I'm doing with that airbrush, I'm machining the parts. That's the only thing that's really slowing me down. That, and I can't find the chrome yet. And I keep looking through boxes and boxes in here. That's a bad thing about having such a tiny little area, is that you put stuff in boxes and then you stack it on top of each other, and then is what you end up getting is a whole bunch of I don't own this anymore. That it's just as if it was lost for good. Okay, that was about it with that. And my airbrushes. The airbrushes, the Thayer and Chandlers, I showed you those. And then the El Cheapos, which I kind of like them. That one there is a definite no name. This says airbrush on it. But they work really good. And they were only, I think this was $12 years and years ago. But the $6 Badger, that works about the best. I mean, that's a stinking garden hose. There's no double action, nothing. It's just, you adjust it to begin with. And I have it permanently adjusted there with its little spring. I don't move it from there. And they're real easy to clean. Let's see, there's something there. Okay. They're real easy to clean. And they're real basic, but it's perfect for shooting the Clearcoat. Well, there we go. Okay, guys. I think that's about it. I'm going to wrap this up and have a really good night. Okay. Bye-bye. You're asking for a close-up. I think the machinist asked for a close-up of something. As I went out there to shut off this video. That was a picture I took of the TV screen, the car show of Gas Hole, and it was of the passenger side, even though it's the same on both sides, I've checked. But it was of the car, but it was of about this angle. So it did end up at an angle. But yeah, that's a close-up of that one. And there was supposed to be this green in there. This, I guess it'd be kind of washed out, but there's a neon green that's in here. And it would have encircled all of the panel paint. It was just a real thin little. And I told Tammy, I said, I can do that. I can cut my tape real narrow and go through and do all that work. But, I mean, what am I going to gain? But the next one will have a flip-up nose. And I can make a whole bunch of these. I just put all the chassis, these extra chassis in there. I cut quite a bit out of the side of this Badman chassis. And then I cut quite a bit off the back of the Badman chassis. And you can see back here that the wheel wells don't quite line up, but I lined them up with the front and then with the back of this. So they do kind of fit. But the Badman is wider. You know, I got a Badman. I can show it to you. But I've got a lot of these chassis and a lot of these interior tubs. Let me see if there's a difference here. Yeah, I've schlocked them together, that's for sure. This one here, I didn't even have the tires, but now I cast my own tires because I run out of the big meats really quick. And I just wanted to throw this up on the shelf when I did it that day. I bought this off of eBay. I think this is one of them. I've got a few of them. chop the top off. You just cut them. So I glued the tops back on and stuff, but I didn't have any windows for it. Now I've got the colored acetate and I can make my own windows. Let's see, I want to show you the bottom. In the back, you can see where I've cut that frame rail off of it. And I've got a whole bunch of these chassis, so I can pick up some more of these bodies that I like better. I like them better. It's almost like maybe this is 1/24th scale, the Badman's, I'm guessing, because it is that far off. I should finish that one up and do it the right way, but I just schlocked it to get it on the shelf because I've been known to do that. Like, I don't want to spend all that time. It's certainly not a show model. If I make them for a show, then it takes all the fun out of it because I've super detailed a lot of them, and I'd rather just move on to the next paint job myself. Like, this is a challenge, so that challenge like trumps that other stuff to me. Okay, I'm hoping that's what you wanted to see a close up of. Yeah, because I can't read anything off the TV screen because I'm just in this closet here. I shut the door to keep the cats out. In fact, just setting up the camera, they all three come in here and start climbing all over everything. They know something's going on, and they want to be a part of it, or they want to be in showbiz or whatever. All right. There it is, hauling ass. And then I got another set of another gasser I'm doing. There we are, Ass Farmer. It's a nickname I gave to a person. And it's got a puller tractor, a John Deere, and it's going to go on the sides. I did that on my paint program. I just drew it out. I had it huge on the big screen, and I went through and just kind of drew it out. And it doesn't look as good on decals, but I got a whole bunch of decals of them. So I got that. I still got one gas hole left. But yeah, I make them up pretty easy. That's what I would do is I'd take a picture of the TV screen, and then I would fine tune it on my paint program, and then run it off on decal film. I use the white backing stuff. That seems to be about the best. And then I'll clear coat it with the spray can of gloss, Rust-Oleum, I believe. Gloss Rust-Oleum. And that's about as glossy as it. Well, this is all cleared over. In fact, that's something I need to touch on too, is that I put the decals on this, and I like to clear coat right away as soon as possible because I'm so impatient that I use a special, there's some back there too, but I use a special setting solution that I brush it on top of the paintwork, and then I'll put my decal on, and then I'll blot it. And you got to get it just right. You can't be off even a little bit. You'll see on some of my other cars where the decals are just off by a hair. And it's because when I put them on, since I put this kind of setting solution, I should show you what brand it is, because I had 2 bottles of it. One bottle I put in this, which I've had that for years. I had that for 30 years. It was another one of these bottles, except for this one's red. The other one was blue. Get this out of the way. This one's red, and that's what I used on here. Is I used a brush, brushed it on here first, put my decal on, and it sucks it to the finish, and it makes sure that it gets all these nice lines that the 55 Chevy has. It just sucks them right down to it. And it dries them immediately. I didn't have to use a hair dryer or nothing like that. I just waited about an hour or so, kept dabbing it and putting it over the top of the decal. Because I've had years ago, when I wasn't using setting solution, if I tried to clear coat over that decal within an 8-hour to 10-hour day, it would wrinkle it up and it would act like paint stripper, and the whole thing would be just wrinkled up like crazy. So I make sure I use setting solution, and then within an hour I'm clear coating the body. Let me get this stuff all out of the way. Okay, I think I hit upon some other good stuff there, I hope. Okay, guys, I went to bed a while ago, and I'm laying there in bed, and I thought, talking to Ed, I should have showed him some more about the Clearcoat, because I was telling him about just get a quart. You don't have to get a whole bunch. You don't have to get a gallon. You know, you're not running a body shop or nothing. Neither am I. I don't do anything with any body shop, anything. But a gallon will last me the rest of my life for sure. So, in fact, even a quart will. Just what's in that quart alone, I think would last me about a lifetime. It sits up that high, and that one's up about that high too. So there we go. Get this out here. Okay, guys, I think I hit on everything that I could, and I hope I got you a good close up of what you were looking for, mechanist. Yeah, I think that's about it. Okay, guys, I'll talk to you later. Have a great night, and I'll see you on the next one.